Tonight's story is called Horrible Henry Hates Hamburgers. Once upon a time... but there is a flying saucer. You haven't heard the story yet. So there's a flying saucer in this story about Horrible Henry Hates Hamburgers. Oh, we have a little distraction. There's a bee flying around. Okay, shall we start the story? Once upon a time, there was a little boy whose name was Henry, but everybody called him Horrible Henry, because Horrible Henry was generally very horrible to everybody. He was naughty. Anyway, one day, he was playing in the garden with his little sister, who was called Henrietta. So we had Henry, the boy, playing with his sister, Henrietta, in the garden. And Henrietta said to Horrible Henry, "Henry, can you play catch ball with me?" And Henry said, "No, I don't want to play with you." Please, said Henrietta, "please play with me." "No, I don't like playing with girls," said Horrible Henry. So Henrietta burst into tears, and she cried and cried. She cried so much and so loudly that her mummy came out to see what the matter was. "What's the matter, Henrietta?" said the mummy. "Henry won't play with me. I want to play ball with him." Mummy was quite cross, so she said to Horrible Henry, "Now, Henry, you play ball with your sister Henrietta, and I don't want to hear any more about it." And Mummy went back inside. So Henry looked rather grumpy and agreed to play ball with Henrietta. So Henrietta threw the ball to Henry, and she was expecting him to throw it back. But he didn't throw it back. Do you know what he did? He took Henrietta's ball and threw it into the neighbour's garden, so she couldn't get it. Henrietta was very upset and cried again. Well, the mummy said to Henrietta, "Come in, I'll give you some dinner." A bee stung you? I hope not. Anyway, do you know what there was for dinner? Oh, she's killed it. She's got it. Well done. Do you know what was for dinner? Do you want to have a guess? Something that Henry does not like. What do you think he doesn't like? He doesn't like hamburgers. So Mummy said to Henrietta, "I'm going to give you something I know you like, but because Henry has been very bad to you, I'm not going to give him something he likes. And I know Horrible Henry doesn't like hamburgers, so I'm going to give hamburgers to Henry, and I'm going to give hamburgers to Henrietta." Henrietta was very pleased. Horrible Henry was very angry. "I don't like hamburgers," said Horrible Henry. "Well," said his mummy, "that's too bad. You should have played with Henrietta properly." Now, we're going to get to the flying saucer part of the story. Just then, as Henrietta was enjoying her delicious hamburger with lettuce, ketchup, the burger of course, and some cheese in it, they both heard a whirring, buzzing sound in the garden. What do you think it could be? Was it a fly?
A flying saucer.
It was indeed a flying saucer. So they rushed out to the garden, and there, landing in the garden, was an alien spaceship. A flying saucer which must have come all the way from Mars. Henrietta and Henry were very surprised to see a spaceship land in their garden. And then the spaceship door opened very slowly, and out came a little green alien. "Hello," said Henrietta. "Welcome to Earth." Henry said, "Go away, this is my garden. I don't want aliens here." Well, the alien, who had a very large glass helmet over his head and was coloured green and had very large eyes and an antenna sticking off the top of his head, the alien was quite upset by Henry's attitude. The alien said, "I beg your pardon?" "Yes," said Henry, "go away. I don't want any aliens in my garden. I want my garden just for me." But Henrietta said, "No, Henry, it's my garden too. I'm allowed to have visitors if I want, and I'm inviting these aliens to come and have dinner with us. Come in," she said to the green alien. "You can have dinner with us." Henry wasn't very happy about it at all, but she took the alien in to see her mother. Well, you can imagine her mother was very surprised to see an alien. But at the end of the day, the alien had a big smile and seemed quite friendly. "Oh, well," said the mummy, "come in and have some dinner with us. Do you like hamburgers?" "Well," said the alien, "you'd never guess, but that happens to be my favourite meal." "Well," she said, "you could have Henry's. He won't eat his. He doesn't like hamburgers." And the alien said, "Well, your son Henry was quite rude to me. I didn't like his attitude at all." And then the alien said, "If I was a bad alien, I'd take my ray gun and shoot him and he'd turn into bones. Just like in that movie, Mars Attack." Then Henrietta said to the alien, "Do you like music? Would you like to listen to the radio?" "Oh, no, said the alien. "Please don't put music on. It'll make my head explode." But horrible Henry decided he was going to put the music on anyway. So he reached over to the radio, turned on the button, and played the music as loud as he could. And something awful happened to the poor alien, the friend of Henrietta. Do you know what happened? The alien's head exploded, splat, and the inside of his glass helmet was covered with green slime. "Oh, you killed him," said Henrietta to Henry. She was so upset. "He was my friend. I liked him." "I don't care," said Henry. "I'm horrible, and I don't like aliens, and I don't like hamburgers, and I don't like you, Henrietta, and I don't like everything." Now, would you like to have Henry as your friend, Aidan? I don't think so, because he'd probably say, "I don't like you either." Just then, another alien came out of the spaceship and saw his friend with his green slime inside his helmet and said, "Oh my goodness, what's happened to my friend? You've exploded his head." Henrietta said, "It was my naughty brother, my horrible brother, Henry, who did it. He turned the music on." Well, the alien wasn't very pleased with Henry. So the alien said to Henry, "You're not very nice, but I'm going to forgive you. Would you like to come in my spaceship for a ride?" Now, Henry had never been for a ride in a spaceship, so he immediately said, "Oh, yes, please." So they took him in the spaceship and locked the door behind him so he couldn't get out. And then the spaceship took off and went into outer space, far, far away. And when they were a long, long way away, up in space, they opened the door and pushed Henry out, and that was the end of the horrible Henry. And Henrietta, well, she lived happily ever after, thankfully with no more nasty brother. The end. And what did you think of that story, my little boy?
Daddy's winning. Daddy's winning.
Did you like it? Another story? Well, actually, I hadn't quite finished that story. That was not really the end of the story. Luckily for horrible Henry, when he was pushed out of the spaceship, he landed on top of an aeroplane. and he sat at the back of the aeroplane with his legs around it, with the tail behind him to hold him on, and the plane flew down and landed, guess where? In the garden again. And Henry could get off, but now he'd learned his lesson, and he came in to see Henrietta and said, "Henrietta, I'm so sorry I was nasty to you." And then he saw an alien, the one with the green slime in his head, and said to the alien, "I'm so sorry. I hurt you. I didn't mean to play the music to you." But then he noticed that the alien the dead one was wearing a special gun with lots of levers on it, and he looked at what the levers said, and one said make the person smaller, another one said make the person bigger, another one said make his head explode, and another one said make him whole again so he's alive again. Oh, he said, maybe I can bend the alien. So he pressed the gun and the button called make him alive again, and pop, the head went back to normal, and the alien was saved again. And there's a big smile from the alien and a big smile from Henry. And Henry said, "Oh, to the alien, I'm so sorry. I tried to kill you by playing music. I'll never do it again." And then Henry said something quite surprising. He said, "Henrietta, would you like to play ball with me? We can play ball with the alien, all three of us." So Henrietta, Henry, and the alien all went into the garden and started to throw the ball from one to the other. And Henry realized that actually it was quite fun to have friends. He enjoyed it. And so he said to Henrietta, "I'm so sorry I was nasty to you. I'll never throw your ball in the neighbour's garden again." And he said to his mummy, "Mummy, I'm so sorry I was rude and nasty. I won't do it again." Then he said to the alien, "I'm so sorry I was rude to you. Of course you're welcome to come and stay in our garden. I'll never do it again. You're invited to stay with us anytime." And do you know what? He liked playing with the alien, and he liked playing with Henrietta. He didn't know that he'd like it. He always thought, "I don't like it. I'll just tell people to go away." But now he discovered being friendly with people was nice because people were nice to him. And then he started to feel a little bit hungry. And he thought about the hamburger that he didn't want to eat. But in fact, you know what? He had never, ever tasted hamburger. So perhaps he likes it, perhaps he doesn't. He didn't know. His sister, Henrietta, said, "Try it. You might like it." And Henry said, "I'm not so sure. Does it taste like green eggs and ham?" No, she said, "It doesn't taste of green eggs and ham. It tastes of hamburger. If you don't taste a hamburger, you won't know whether you like it or not." "Yes," said Henry, "but I'm not sure. It's got a bit of lettuce in it and some cucumber. And I'm not sure I really like vegetables." Well, Henrietta said, "You never know. Try it. You might like it." Well, poor Henry was so hungry because he'd had no dinner at all. Finally, at long last, he decided to take a very tiny bite of the hamburger. Like this. Very small bite. And he said, "I like it. I really like it." And then he took a big bite, and then a bigger bite, and then an enormous bite, and in no time at all, the hamburger had disappeared into his tummy. Well, you see, sometimes when you don't like something, you've got to try it anyway, because you might like it. You don't know till you've tried it, do you? And that is the story of Horrible Henry Hates Hamburgers, because at the end, he loved hamburgers, and he loved his sister, and he loved aliens, and he loved his mummy. And he was very, very sorry for all the bad things he did. But because he was now sorry and was kind to the people in future, he lived a very happy life. And they all lived happily ever after. Can I tell the same story again? Well, the good news is I've just recorded this story and I'll load it up on YouTube and you'll be able to listen to it again when you go to bed tonight. So you just get Mummy to find the story called Horrible Henry Hates Hamburgers. And then you'll be able to listen to it in bed. Does that sound good to you?
No, I want you to tell the same story again.
Well, I guess you remember most of it, because Horrible Henry was horrible to his sister. He threw his sister's ball over the fence, didn't he? And then some aliens landed, and he was horrible to the aliens. He said they're not allowed to land in his garden. And then his mummy gave him a hamburger, which he didn't like, or said he didn't like. And he was really horrible to everybody. And then he blew up the alien by putting the radio on, playing music. And that's not good for aliens. Aliens really, really don't like music. Or at least if you watch Mars Attack, you know that they don't like music. And then another alien took him up into space and threw him out, but he landed on top of a plane and flew down to the garden and realized that he'd been very wrong to be so nasty to everybody. So from that day on, he was nice to everybody. He was nice to Henrietta. He played ball with the alien and with Henrietta. And he was nice to his mummy. And he ate his hamburger. And yeah, everything worked out. That was the same story again. And that's the end of the story. And they all lived happily ever after. So maybe I should call the story Horrible Henry is Happy Ever After. Or Horrible Henry Happy in His Home. And that's the end of the story.